What's up, guys? We have another game with the black pieces against Selma 007. She's a golden eye. We're finally facing what might be our first c4 d4 Queen's Gambit line, to which we play c5 on move 2. You see me play this against almost anything white plays. Pushing past is the principled response. But now I'm going to go b5. This initiates the Benko Gambit lines because it's a pawn sacrifice. But in return you get open A and or B files, or B and or A files. And so he just took a pawn. Now he's up a pawn. The drawback is it undefends his center. I'm going to continue in the spirit of the Benko and give up this pawn. Now why would I do that? That's crazy, right? Well, I'm going to recapture with a piece, get at least one of my pawns back, and have piece activity and open lines to try to put pressure. So now, like I said, most Benko Gambit players go for the fianchetto setup. I've never played it like that. I don't know how to play it like that. I do this. I push my e6 pawn, which attacks his center. And then I recapture with the f pawn when they take. And then I put my pawn in the center, and I create this strong center where white has nothing and I have 3 pawns. He's still up a pawn. I do have this slightly weakened structure, but after I castle, I'm going to have an open f file for the rooks. So open f file, semi-open f, semi-open b, strong center. You can start to see compensation for a pawn. Okay. He develops his knight towards the center. We can go here. If you develop your bishop first, maybe that lets him go e4, which might be annoying. So let's just put a pawn in the center first. We're keeping an eye out for checks, making sure they don't hurt us. And I have 3 pieces on this, right? So I can take it back anytime I want. Sometimes it's beneficial to take with either piece. Like what I mean is sometimes taking with the bishop is better, sometimes the knight's better, sometimes the rook's better, and it depends. So you don't always just auto capture, let's say, with the bishop, even though that is the most natural, maybe. So he develops a minor piece, pins our knight, which controls the center. I'm going to counter that pin, develop a minor piece. Now our knight's free to control the center unless he wants to sack his bishop. So maybe he can give up the bishop, we take, and then play e4 now that our knight's not there. But he doesn't go for that. That would give us the bishop pair. Instead, he goes e3, closing his pawn chain now that the bishop's developed, also threatening to develop this bishop. Fine. So I think we still have a minor piece, like a knight that can go out. We can also castle. In the name of king safety, let's castle. This removes any checks in the position, safer, and your rook is extremely strong here. And his king side hasn't been touched until this move, and we're already castled. So, compensation for a pawn. You're like, oh, but he's up 2 pawns. Gonna take this back. But he just moved his bishop. This develops the piece, prepares castling. It's not a drawback, but what I was doing is waiting for him to develop. And now I'm going to take this pawn. And if he takes me, he'll just have wasted his turn, right? Because if he did his knight and I take and he takes, he didn't waste any time. But because he moved his bishop first, now I can take this, get 1 pawn back, and maybe make him waste a turn. So now I'm down a pawn, but I'm castled first. I have 2 pawns on the 5th. He has 0. He wasted a turn. That's good for me. I have open files. I have open diagonals. I have definite compensation for a pawn, I would say. Now, do we want to take with the knight? Or do we want to take with the rook and put our knight here? Maybe the rook. Let's try the rook. It also defends laterally, so that's an interesting benefit. He develops his last minor piece and prepares to castle. Fine. No real drawbacks. Does this move do anything? Not really. It weakens all my light squares. So I'm going to continue with my last developing piece. And now you can see I'm going to be able to put pressure on A and B files. Is it enough to win a pawn back? Well, we'll find out. And you have to like these styles of position because, you know, look at what you get. You sack a pawn and you get this and see what happens. Okay, so what's a good looking forcing move? Queen here hits a pawn. Good looking, forcing, undefends my bishop, but my bishop's defended by the knight. Okay, good looking forcing move. I want to maybe get my rook here. I do have an open f-file though, so I'm confused as to where to play. I guess the f-file doesn't actually matter in this particular setup. So he goes here and I saw this move. It defends the pawn and attacks the queen, but I figured if I move my queen, his knight's still tethered with his queen. He can't win this pawn. I'm not sure what his knight's doing there. So I don't mind this move. I think I could find a more active square for my queen. Is this the most active square? I don't want to walk into stuff, but it looks active. Let's go to the most active square and try to put as much pressure as possible on this guy. We want to at least get our pawn back, because then we're definitely better at that point. So he protects the pawn and the knight permanently, but the knight's off sides, and I think c4. He can't take because the knight would hang. If he ignores me, like if he just jumps this in, I'm not really threatening anything though, because like, yeah, I'm not threatening anything. It's just hope chess that he takes. So let's just leave his knight looking there. What else can we do? Well, we could bring the B file's closed. How can we do this? What's a good looking forcing move? Good looking forcing move. There's so many candidate moves. It's really crazy. My knight's not pinned anymore. So I want to improve my bishop, have it control the center. If I can't find a good looking forcing move, I'm going to look for a move where I can immediately improve my position on this turn. So he attacks, but not weakens the B pawn a lot. But where do I move my queen? I can move it in front of his king. That switches sides of the board, but it might be scary for him. He is up a pawn, but he can't go for a queen trade by moving the knight because his bishop hangs. Yeah, these Benko positions are extremely complicated, so on every move you can lose. So you really need a lot of time. So it's not ideal for this 10-minute games. Not for me. I can barely think at all in 10 minutes. But they're a lot of fun. They're some of my favorite positions to try to figure out. Okay, he attacks it, but I guess I'll keep my queen in the center. Maybe he can go back and attack it again. I'm running into Tempe, but he's not like improving his position with all these moves. It's just more like a shuffling of the Rubik's Cube than a solving of it. Because every one of these moves is making weaknesses as well, so I'm not sure they're actually beneficial for him. And I always have this diagonal, which is a G6 square is a nice square. If he goes for the queen trade and I take it, I still have compensation for a pawn. Okay, so he attacks my weakness twice with his rook and develops. That makes sense. Now I'm wondering if I can push the pawn though. And if he takes the pawn, I can take this pawn. And if he takes the pawn, I mean, who really cares? I'll blow up the entire position. That's the nature of this opening. I don't care about keeping this. It's supposed to be dynamic. And I'm running out of time. So in light of that, I'm just going to play the dynamic option instead of... You know, that pawn was really good at controlling the dark squares, so he couldn't jump the knight in. So he takes. Undefends his knight, loosens it up a bit too. I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm going to start with taking that pawn with tempo. His knight's a little loose. My queen can hit it. Okay, so he hits my bishop with his rook. Ah, there's no increment. I keep forgetting. So I'm just going to tempo move to see what he does while I think. This pawn's hanging. My rook, I don't know if I want to bring it because I think if I liquidate the center, I might want this pressure here. So he moves his rook back, fine. I could take, but that opens up his queen's file. I'm going to take because I do have a knight here. So if I can put a rook on d8 in one move because it's already supported, I don't have to make a move and support it. Maybe I'll consider transferring to this with tempo and playing in the center. This also opens up a square for my knight, which he takes. I can take back with the pawn, which stifles the knight. That's kind of nice. And it can open up line towards this king. It's in this nature style of the position, whether it's objectively good or not. I could just tuck my king in the corner. Now material's even. Black's position is crazy. The pawns are all weak, but my pieces are extremely active, except for this rook. Does my piece activity compensate for my pawn, my structural weaknesses? Well, in an endgame, he's going to have a lot easier time winning my pawns. Actually, that's not true because I'm so active, but basically what I'm saying is all my pawns are targets. So he moves back. This threatens nothing. It wastes a little bit of time. So how can I... It also relinquishes control of the center. I'm going to get this in with tempo and then move my knight, because then I won't be able to play it if I move my knight. Although this... Is that what he was going for? So maybe I should have moved my knight in. Although he does this. What does this threaten? Nothing. Drawback. Hangs the knight. So this looks enticing, but it gives this perpetual probably. But if I don't move that rook, he doesn't have a threat. Okay, I have 1 minute left with no increment. So I gotta stop talking probably. And not lose this. I'll try to just highlight things I'm thinking, I guess. Okay. Safety above all else. I'm up a piece. I need to get rid of his queen. What a crazy game. But this is what you get with Benko. He doesn't want to trade. I'm going to sneak attack him, although my rook's not defended. I guess this. I'm not thinking. That's not like I just made a random. My hand just moved because I'm running out of time. I guess piece trades are fine. Oh no, it hangs a rook. Oh no. Maybe I can. That's bad for me. But at least it's 2 minor pieces for a rook. Okay, thank goodness. Check. Oh my god. I would have lost the game just on time because I can't think with 40 seconds. Okay. I'm just creating contact on light squares. I guess I can go in here next and then double stack. I just have to watch out for my king. So maybe I always leave this guy here till the end because you don't want to get back rank checked or something. So I'll move this guy first. I also have this, but that's slow. He's hitting my rook and my pawn in the center. I can protect both. And now maybe I can try to checkmate him. I gotta be fast, fast, fast. Fast, 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 fast. Here. I don't know. Center or king side? Well, this is a move. My bishop's looking dumb. Maybe I can create some type of checkmate on the king. But I need to cover the light squares too. I gotta be aggressive. If I'm passive, I would be winning, but I don't have time to make sure everything's secure. So I have to just be aggressive and throw things at him. Oh, queen. Yes. Why do these players do this? Like, you withstood all of my pressure in this entire Benko thing, and then you just throw away your queen? Like, what? You had to come up with so much harder thought processes during this game to survive, and then you just hang your queen. I'm hanging a lot of stuff too, but still. So yeah, now the game's over. I feel a lot better when he doesn't have a queen. Okay, so this is just a checkmate pattern that everyone should know. Whenever you have 2 rooks here and their own rook is at home in the castled position, you have an automatic mate that you could pre-move. So here, here, and here. Oh, wait, you can't do multiple pre-moves? Weird. There's also this, which is kind of cute. Different checkmate. Still works though. Alright. Nice short video. I almost threw again. So many times I get the win when I'm almost throwing, but it's pretty funny. We'll leave it at that. We gained some more points. We are now we broke 1200 last game. We're 1209. Okay, good. We keep climbing towards 1300 and keep blundering the house. This is fun, guys. Till next time, submit your rapid games.